if things don't work out again, right? The best thing that could come from it is that you got a lesson out of it.
Right.
And you're going to come out of it a stronger person. And the beauty of being in a relationship is that you always end up learning something about yourself.
Yeah. You get
And-
stronger, smarter, right?
Yeah, and you also pick up skills from another person. Take it to the next relationship. It'll be better than the one previous because now you can refine further what you didn't like and what you do like.
The stuff that we go through while we're dating and in relationships, the pain and the suffering and all that stuff, and yet we come back for more. Why? Because at the end of the day, love is really worth it.
Hi, welcome to the Magnetic Mismatch Show. This is Linda.
And this is Will, and I love my shirt today. Why are you so quiet? You don't like the shirt? It's so dope. It's like a shark shirt. Are they sharks? No, they're like little minnows or something. Trouts?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really bad with knowing my fish. But they're little cool fishies, and it's like a short sleeve button up. Awesome for like when you're going on vacation or you just want to lounge around. So comfortable.
I think you bought that
So
shirt
stylish.
for Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right.
did.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's why every time I wear this, I always think about Hawaii.
Yeah.
Especially right now. That would be nice to be there. Chilling on an island or on a beach.
I think it'll be nice to travel, period.
Yeah.
But obviously we're not, right?
No.
No.
I know. Not right now.
Not right now. I'm just happy that we decided to take a little joyride to a boba shop, a local boba shop.
That's the most adventurous thing we do now.
Yeah, it's our weekends to the boba shop because they do curbside pickup.
They do,
which is really nice. All you have to do is pop your trunk.
You're addicted.
I'm addicted. I think I you know it's so crazy.
It's not even about the drink for you.
Yeah, I don't even like boba that much.
How dare you?
Like before the whole pandemic, I haven't had a boba for years.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden.
I know. That's why I was like, what? Why do you keep wanting to go get boba?
Yeah, now every other week I want a boba.
Why?
I think it's like an association with me getting to go outside.
Yeah, that was a nice drive though.
Just a nice drive. We don't get out the car.
There's a lot of people right now though on the road. It's back to LA traffic. I mean, it's Friday today, so.
Yeah.
But it was still nice because it was a beautiful
nice
summer day. I can't believe it's summer out there and we can't even get to enjoy.
Yeah.
I mean, you could, but that'd be the irresponsible thing to do, right now.
Yeah.
The risky thing to do.
Yeah, and it's because, we see our parents once in a while.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to take
it's
any
not
risk.
worth the risk right now.
Yeah, not right now. And moving forward, what's our topic today?
Well, today's topic is actually almost like a continuation of our last episode. In our last episode, we talked about how to overcome heartbreak because you and I have both had our hearts broken before, and you've broken some hearts as well.
Yeah. And if you haven't listened to that episode, make sure you listen to that episode.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah.
But this episode specifically is talking about, so after you've overcome your heartbreak, what next, right? How do you love again after a heartbreak? And that's kind of what we want to focus on today.
Yeah.
It's a good question, right?
Yeah. I mean, it takes time, right? We've established that from the last podcast is that for you and I, it took time and, we had to go through certain emotions to come out of it, right? And we agreed that once you come out of it, you learn a lot about yourself. But then from there, where do you go? And I think it's very important to find the happiness first. Be happy with yourself before you can be happy with somebody else, right? Yeah. And I think it's healthy not to immediately jump into a relationship right away after a breakup. I'm not saying that it doesn't work out, because obviously it does work out for some people,
Yeah, it
right? It's
happens
just,
from time to time.
yeah. But I think it's nice to take a moment for your time and find happiness in yourself first before you move on to another relationship.
I think it's also important too, like if you're fresh out of a relationship, or if you had a bad relationship that you're getting out of, or even any heartbreak, right?
Mhm.
Taking some time too to also reflect, yeah?
Yeah.
To kind of look at that now that you're of clearer mind, hopefully, and you can kind of see like, well, what are some things that you learned, from that relationship, or from being involved with that person,
Yeah.
right? But yeah, I agree with you, and that takes to takes a lot of effort to confront yourself, right? To be honest with yourself and be objective about the relationship.
Mhm.
Like what was something that maybe I could have done better, or that person could have. What do I want from that relationship or other relationships going forward? You know what I mean? Gives you a little bit more clarity, I think.
Yeah. And it's good to self-reflect.
Yeah.
There's always things you can improve on, even within yourself,
Right.
right? Because
It's not all the other person's fault
no,
either,
obviously. And you know what? Sometimes you could have been the jerk in the relationship
without even knowing it.
without even knowing it. And, after some self reflection, if you realize that's the case, then that's something that you need to work on.
Right. Right. And
Because
you have to be honest about it.
you can't be the same person and not improve yourself and expect going into another relationship and for the same things to not reoccur again.
Yeah. I think that's where we sometimes we fool ourselves, or we believe, or we deny, right, our own faults, or our own whatever
Yeah.
that caused that result, and we just assume it was entirely the other person's fault, and we're perfect angels, right? We didn't do anything in that relationship that was wrong or bad or whatever that caused that breakup, and therefore that carries over to the new relationship.
Yeah. I mean, like in your case, I think, right, the next time around, um, you clarified the relationship
Up
status
front, yeah.
up front instead of assuming
Right.
the other person wanted a serious relationship with
Right.
you.
So that's, if you guys didn't listen to the other episode, basically my ex-girlfriend, one of my early girlfriends, basically, we broke up because, oh well, she cheated, basically,
Yeah.
unfortunately, and that was because she wasn't ready to be in a serious relationship, but I wanted a serious relationship, and even though we were boyfriend girlfriend, I don't think we were on the same page, about what that meant.
Yeah.
So going forward after that happened, I knew that I needed to be more clear with the other person to make sure that, hey, this is what I want. This is what I would expect in the relationship. And hopefully they expressed what they want too.
They call it DTR now.
What's DTR?
Define the relationship.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
Well, we had a DTR moment.
We did, but I didn't know that's what you labeled it as.
Yeah. I think that's the correct terminology.
I see. Yeah. So tell people a little bit more about what happened then for us.
I think for us, we dated for a little bit, right? We were talking online. We went out on a couple of dates, but it's still an open relationship in the sense where there's no grounds have been established.
We didn't
yet.
commit to each other yet.
No.
As boyfriend, girlfriend, or whatever.
No.
We were still allowed to date other people.
Yeah, it would have been fair game. What?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's true.
But you did tell me that you wanted to take things slow.
I did. And
I agreed to that. I was cool with that.
Yeah, and for you wanted to think about if you wanted a girlfriend or not.
I told you that too, and I told you that.
Yeah, and you said you wanted time to think about that
I
before
remember that.
you wanted to jump
you have a
into
good
a
memory.
relationship. Yeah.
You're like
And you went around and you consoled all your friends.
to get advice. Oh, should I? Because I was like, I didn't know if I was completely ready to get
Yeah,
back
which is
into a
fair, which is
relationship,
very fair.
even though it had been a couple of years since that heartbreak. I was enjoying being single, and just, working on myself, right? Like some of the things we've been talking about. And when I met you, it wasn't intentional,
No.
but we hit it off so much that I was like, wow, like I really like hanging out with this girl and talking with her. And I could see us being in a relationship, but at the same time, am I ready to jump into a relationship? Because I knew what that meant.
Yeah.
Goodbye, singlehood.
Yeah. And I think for me too, same. I wasn't sure if I wanted to jump into a relationship,
Yeah. Why?
right? I was starting to enjoy being by myself. It was nice.
Nothing to tie you down.
Yeah, it was nice. It was just I didn't have to, you know, answer to
Yeah.
anyone or I could
Worry about somebody
worry
else.
about
Yeah.
somebody else. I got to be selfish, and that was nice.
Yeah.
All I had to worry about was myself, and
It's very,
basically,
yeah, liberating.
yeah. And I was starting to establish like a nice routine,
Yeah.
right? And you're right, it was hard to give that up.
It's like change, It's just knowing that if you get into a relationship, it's change. It complicates the situation a little bit.
Yeah. So I had to be very honest with myself. Am I ready to be in a relationship? I didn't want to just jump into a relationship and just sabotage the relationship.
Yeah. Or feel, because sometimes we do that, right? We're tempted to do it because it feels better than feeling like alone. And that's why what you said earlier is really important is you would want to work on yourself and be okay being alone, while you're searching for your partner or whatever, your significant other, and proving that to yourself that, hey, I'm okay, right? At the end of the day, if I end up, not finding the right person for me, it's life is still worth living. Life
Yeah.
is still good.
Yeah. And during that time period without dating anybody, I found that life is good
Mhm.
with or without somebody,
Yeah.
and I was happy regardless.
Right.
Um, so I had to make sure that the next person that I brought into my life, they must enhance my life and not bring me down,
Hmm.
because I did not want to be in another toxic relationship.
I think that's what that first or that specific relationship taught you, or brought you more clarity for what you didn't want in a relationship,
Exactly.
which allowed you to figure out what do you want,
Yeah.
right, in the relationship
Yeah.
in the first
And
place. What's a healthy relationship, right? Or what's one that you would enjoy being in?
yeah, I wanted one that was fun and lighthearted, and you know, both of us need to have the same core value.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of the clash came in from the
Hmm.
previous relationships. So I knew that if I was going to get into another one, they need to check off certain criterias for me before, because a relationship takes up a lot of energy. I have to, at this point, consider, is it worth my time,
Yeah, that's true. Emotionally and your energy,
my energy, my
Yeah.
time?
Yeah, and I think what's important is when you're mentally and emotionally ready to get back, into into a new relationship. I think it is important to make sure you're upfront, right, with the other person and honest about where your headspace is.
Hmm.
Where you're at, because if you have baggage, if you have things and issues that you're dealing with. I think it's important before you jump into that new relationship that the other person kind of knows where you're at and leave it to them if they want to get to be part of that or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it was great because you and I, we were very upfront with each
Transparent
other.
with each other. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think.
Exactly where I'm at and exactly where you were at. I agreed to give you that time you needed. And then I guess with me too, because I didn't want to jump into the relationship
Yeah.
right away.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of thinking about I mean, I'm glad we decided to commit to each other,
Uh-huh.
but it took a while.
Yeah. And that's okay, right? Moving at a little bit of a slower, more uh cautious maybe kind of pace,
Hmm.
you think? Just because you got burned one time before, you might be more careful on the next one, or at least you don't want to rush things, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I think that's important. I think also like with any new relationship, it is important to, like we were saying earlier, to have reflected and really seeing what are those new things that maybe you can bring into this new relationship, right? What can I work on? How can it be better? Like maybe if, for example, in your other relationship, you guys had a tough time communicating with each other about
Hmm.
what you want and need, and now in the new relationship, that's something you need to pay attention to, because if not, the same thing can happen, right? Like we were saying earlier.
Yeah, yeah, and I think also, being a little bit older when we got together, we were still very young,
We were
but
more, yeah,
yeah, but
more
it's
mature than in our like
yeah
18, right?
more mature than
I'd like
18.
to think so.
Because by the time we started dating, I was already getting ready to go to grad school.
Yeah.
Right, I was in a different headspace, a little bit more mature, and I guess it's easier to kind of envision uh, the type of guy that I would want to bring home to my parents and my friends. I didn't want to bring in another, toxic relationship and have my friends deal with it all over again.
Yeah. Did you feel like you had a pretty tough time though, like moving on from that because it was such a bad experience initially?
Yeah, I think so. And I think when we first started dating, I came off as kind of cold, right?
Ice cold, dude.
Ice cold. Like I didn't want to show any affection. But it's weird because that's not like me. Because if you were to ask my friends or family, I'm very warm. I'm such a warm, loving person. But when it came to dating, I still had a wall up. I was
Yeah.
still cold, still a little skeptical.
Very guarded. I think
Yeah,
that's the
about
best way to put it.
yeah, because I did. It's not like I was dating a ton of people,
Hmm.
or had a lot of serious relationships. I didn't know what to expect from there.
Yeah, but I think what was good is that you did tell me that up front, that you had been hurt before, right? And
Hmm.
that knowing that, me having that piece of information, I think it helped me make a decision. Do I want to get involved in this? And I wanted to. So then I knew how to also be softer, right? With the approach, in terms of being in that relationship with you or dating you. I wasn't going to come off like moving too fast or whatever it might be.
Yeah,
But if you didn't tell me that, there's no way I would know. And I might mess something up, right? Or do something that would tick you off. And then that's it. We lose that opportunity, which could have been a beautiful thing, which, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Would have been
And
sad.
the second time around, I don't know about you, but for me, I felt like I had, with the previous experience, I felt like I had more control
Yeah.
of this one. I knew when I felt uncomfortable and to speak up, and I knew when, things are good.
Yeah. I mean, that's experience.
Yeah,
You have more clarity on yourself and what you like, what you don't like.
yeah,
And it's really what dating should be, right? You kind of date enough and you have more and more clarity of that relationship that you want.
yeah. And I'm glad I gave, love another try, because then if I didn't, then we wouldn't have,
Isn't that crazy?
met.
Both of us,
Yeah,
right? If we both just gave up after the first heartbreak or a bad relationship, we could have easily also just generalized and say all guys are bad, all girls are bad,
hmm,
and we wouldn't be here today.
yeah. And I think what I realized is that not every guy is the same. Not every person is the same.
Yeah.
So knowing what I know now, looking back, I probably should have gone into the relationship a little less guarded, right? Because it's, in a way, it's unfair, that your new guy has to deal with, so much defense that you've put up for yourself. But then in a way, there's a beauty to that, because without those baggage and experiences, you're not the same person going in. You're not that same person that they've met.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's hard though. To like, even if you know, like, okay, I shouldn't bring this baggage to the new relationship, sometimes you can't help it.
Yeah, because you're scared.
You're scared, or you don't even realize the baggage that you're bringing in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you probably were guarded, but you didn't even know, like, where's this coming from, or how am I coming off? I don't think you meant to be like ice cold or like very standoffish, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it was because of what happened that your behavior changed, right? That wasn't necessarily you, but
It's like
and
a
it wasn't,
learned
yeah,
behavior.
yeah, and it wasn't you saying, all right, I'm going to go into this new relationship with my walls up completely. Yeah, you're going to be more cautious, but you're not purposely doing it.
But I'm surprised, because you've gone through a heartbreak, and
Yeah,
I feel like you weren't that guarded.
I think that's the thing. It took time, but also like everybody handles it differently too, like you said.
Yeah. I was surprised.
I think for me, it was more of commitment at that point, like committing to somebody and being in a real relationship. So it was more like a trust issue. It wasn't necessarily like being myself.
Mm-hmm.
It was more of making a decision like, all right, we're together. Because it would bring back those memories. Like the first time, right, when I got my heart broken, I committed to that person, jumped in, and that person didn't reciprocate that same level of commitment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But once with us, it was like, I told you kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be in a monotonous relationship, and it was not an open relationship. And then you were okay with that. And so I felt better about that, knowing that we're on the same page. And that's really what it comes down to. You could have two people, if they both want open relationships, that's fine, but they both need to be okay with it.
Yeah.
So I think it's just communication again,
Yeah.
and knowing and setting the right expectations right from the start.
Yeah.
But we're not saying it's easy. That's for damn sure.
No,
right?
it's definitely not easy.
And it takes, just like anything, takes time to heal, takes time to move forward. But we do think it is worth, taking that time and letting things progress before you jump in love again.
Yeah.
It is worth loving again.
Yeah. And I mean, if things don't work out again, right? The best thing that could come from it is that you got a lesson out of it.
Right.
And you're going to come out of it a stronger person. And the beauty of being in a relationship is that you always end up learning something about yourself.
Yeah. You get stronger, smarter, right?
Yeah, and you also pick up skills from another person.
Sure.
As well.
Absolutely.
And you can always learn from the mistakes that happened.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't like calling it a mistake. I guess all the things that went wrong in the relationship. Because it's not a mistake. It's just, things didn't align.
Right.
And I guess you can learn from that and take it to the next relationship. It'll be better than the one previous, because now you can refine further what you didn't like and what you do like.
Yeah. And that's important. It's like anything, right? Any challenges that come up, that's life. You learn from the hardships, not from when things go well, necessarily.
Yeah. And I'm glad, because I didn't want to not love again. And I guess this goes with every relationship, even if it's friendships, family. Just because you get
Burned.
burned once doesn't mean that you should shut everybody out and not love again.
Yeah. Because you and I both know people, and I'm sure listeners know people too, that is the approach though. They've gotten hurt so bad, right? They've gotten their heart broken so many times that it is very difficult, to trust somebody again, to feel like they're not gonna have the same thing happen to them. And it can be very likely that that person might take that stance and say,
Yeah.
I'm never gonna date again, or I give up, right? Like I'm not gonna go and put myself out there again. It's not worth the pain, and that would be a shame, because you could be missing out, on there could be somebody waiting for you, right? Just the right person for you, waiting out there for you to match with them. But if you don't put yourself out there and you don't continue to get back out there, you're never going to find that, you know?
Yeah. And it's also important to go into a new relationship fully, right? Give it a
That's a good point.
fair chance. Don't go into a new relationship,
Assuming it's going to fail already.
yeah, assuming it's going to fail, or just one foot in the door and one foot already out.
Yeah.
It's not going to work.
Right. That's like self-sabotage though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're in it, you should be in it. And you should be in it to work, try to your best to make sure it works.
Yeah. And if you're not ready to be in a fully committed relationship, it's fine to date just to
Yeah.
get your your foot back in the door, and
Yeah.
to explore the types of personalities and people, and and further refine what you like and what you don't like.
And I think it's nice to take baby steps, right?
Yeah.
You don't have to jump full into anything, but you can take steps leading to that. But if you're making the step of committing, then you should be fully committed.
Yeah.
Cool. Any parting words? Anything else you think people can benefit from if they're going through a similar situation? Maybe they've passed the stage of feeling sorry for themselves after the heartbreak, and now they're kind of recovering from it, and they are interested in finding love again.
I say go for it. Once you find love, whether it works out or not, I think it's a beautiful thing, right?
Yeah.
Just as human beings, we need that connection.
We do.
With
That's what we all want, right?
That's all what we all want. And if you don't put yourself out there, then you'll never find that person.
That's a 0% chance.
At least if you put yourself out there, there's some chance that that person could be your match.
Yeah. Can I end with a quote?
Sure.
That I like? I hope I'm not quoting the wrong person. You know what I'm thinking about?
No.
So they say that it's better to have loved and lost than to have never loved at all. I think that's William Shakespeare. I hope so.
Yeah, I think so too.
But that's so true, right? I'm sure people have heard that saying, but it doesn't hit you until you've been through some heartbreaks before. And it's like, yeah, it's kind of crazy, the stuff that we go through while we're dating and in relationships, the pain and the suffering and all that stuff. And yet we come back for more. Why? Because at the end of the day, love is really worth it, when it's the right person.
Yeah.
It really is. It trumps everything else is forgotten. Like even those heartbreaks, yes, not forgotten, but you know what I mean? Like
I don't
it's
even
still,
think
you
about
still
it.
remember it, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like something that consumes you anymore, and it's not so painful that like it was at that time.
Yeah.
Because everything else is good if you're in the right relationship.
Yeah. Or you can not every relationship is going to end poorly, right? Keep that in mind.
I hope
too.
not.
Yeah, there's plenty of people there that are still friends with their ex.
Yeah.
That could happen too. It's just you weren't the right match.
Yeah.
It doesn't always.
It could be a mutual breakup.
Yeah, it doesn't always have to end up in heartbreak. So keep that in mind too.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not that scary.
Yeah. Go for it.
Yeah, go for it.
Just do it.
Just do it.
Okay. All right. Well, that wraps things up. That's the end of the episode. We hope you guys enjoyed it, and hopefully you found something helpful. Um, Make sure to follow us and subscribe to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the major platforms, and give us a 5-star rating and review, as well as.
Make sure to follow us on Instagram, and we release a new episode every Thursday.
All right, guys.
Until next time, bye.
Bye.